But just actually as we come to the final topic, I got to ask you about, and I know
Uh-oh.
yeah, I think we covered this on your podcast, but I just want to get the clickbait because that's the sort of piece of shit that I am. Uh, Pretty recently, there was almost a literal physical fight between the great Anthony Cumia and Bill Burr. Uh, as a person who not grew up listening to it, but was a big O&A fan, it's sad to hear because when you hear how they used to get along on Opie and Anthony's show, like it seemed like these guys are going to be friends for a long time. Like they always seem to be laughing their heads off with each other. Now it's got to the point where Anthony's not even allowed to approach the table that Bill Burr's at because of, let's be honest, silly jokes or comments that Anthony's made in the past. I have to say that as a long time Anthony Cumia defender, I don't think that this is the sort of issue that I could truly defend him on, if you know what I mean. Where it's
Yeah.
like I think everybody has the right to make jokes about whatever you want, because it's just a joke. But at the same time, that then doesn't mean that people have to be okay with you making fun of their poor wives. That's what you called her, not me. So, tell me about your opinion on this Anthony Cumia versus Bill Burr fallout, and has there been any more talk about it behind the scenes?
I agree with Bill Burr. I mean, like you said, people can make jokes about whatever they want. People may not respond to the jokes the way you want them to, and people are allowed to, as long as it's not violence, you're allowed to react to a joke any way you want. Bill Burr didn't like that, and I understand. Like, if I was Bill Burr, I also wouldn't want Anthony Cumia. I'd be like, yeah, dude, we're done. He's still allowed to go to the Comedy Cellar, but yeah, it's like, just keep your distance. You see me, I see you. Like, just we go our separate ways, you know. And the night before that was my show at the Stand, where Stancil was at, your boy, with his soccer balls. He was selling his soccer balls. It was good times. I bought one. And it was my album release party at the Stand at my show. And then after my show was a Patrice O'Neal benefit after party, because they had just had the Patrice O'Neal benefit, and it was the after party. And Bill Burr was there, Andrew Dice Clay. It's just the who's who of comedy, nothing but like A-list comics, Shane Gillis, Big J. Like, everyone's having a good time, and Anthony Cumia wasn't there. And understandably, like, yeah, if I'm Bill Burr, I wouldn't want Anthony Cumia around after that. Like, I'm also not comfortable with those racial jokes. I don't think they're appropriate. You can make jokes about whatever you want, but when you get personal and you say, like, I'm allowed to, like, be like, yeah, I don't like you, and I don't like that joke.
What about lesbians? Can you make jokes about lesbians?
You can make jokes about whatever you want, but there's better be a payoff. There better be a payoff. And the payoff, if it's just meanness towards a person, that's not a joke to me. That's just meanness. Just because you think it's funny to be mean to someone, that's still not a joke. Like, you just being a dick, that's just you being a dick. You might think it's funny, but remember, bullies thought it was funny when they would knock your books out of your hand when you were a schoolboy, and they like, ha ha ha. It's like, no. Like, someone goes to sit down, you pull the chair out from underneath them, ha ha ha. That's not funny. That's just being a dick. So there's a difference between a joke and being a dick. And what Anthony Cumia was doing was being a dick. So he wasn't. So yeah, people can joke about whatever they want, but there's got to be an attempt at a joke. If you're just being a dick and making fun of a specific group of people, you're just being a dick. You're not being funny. That's not a joke. It's just you being a dick, and you know you're being a dick.
Among comedians, what's the reputation that Anthony Cumia has now?
I mean, I don't know. I just know the opinion I have of him. I mean, I don't hate the guy. I'll see him in Pottstown, but I mean, his last big video was him shitting on my comedy for 15 minutes. And it's like, that's fine. Like years ago, that probably would have hurt. But like now, given like his history of where he's at, it's like, I don't know. He's like, he turned into like part Gino. It's almost like Gino was like, he was a gremlin, like, and he was like one of the pure like Gizmo. Like, just this innocent little gremlin, and then Gino's a fucking drunken Stripe or whatever that guy's name was, Spike, and like he became like part Spike. Like I said, you can make jokes, but there better be a payoff. If you're just being a dick, it's not a joke anymore. It's just being a dick. And there's a difference. So I didn't hear what he said about Bill Burr's wife for the joke, but I have heard him make jokes about black people, and that's not funny. That's not a joke. It's just him being a dick. And there's a difference between being a dick and making a joke.
I've heard a funny racist joke if you'd like to hear it.
Now, is it going to be a joke or is it just you being mean? There's a difference.
Well, we can decide afterwards if you'd like to, but it's a joke. Yeah. Are you ready to laugh for half an hour?
Yeah.
Well, 6 skinheads chased this African-American man into an Italian cafe, and they assaulted the African-American man, and they beat him with pipes and baseball bats, and it's horrible. So the police come in afterwards, and they're interviewing witnesses, and they speak to the manager of this Italian cafe, and they say, "Why didn't you help out?" And he says, "I thought 6 was enough."
That's just being a dick. It's not a joke.
I like that one, and I think we should keep more of them coming. But with the, do you think that this sort of Anthony and Bill Burr thing, do you think that this is something that Anthony can recover from? Because it sort of seemed a bit like Anthony was laying low for a bit, but now this has sort of brought his name back into the public view with a lot of negative buzz around it.
Yeah, this is not good for Anthony. And you know what? And the guy's like genuinely a funny dude, but yeah. I mean, he's crossed a line that I'm not saying that, but I don't think he wants to change. I think he's fine being with who he is. I don't know, an aggressive Archie Bunker that plays video games. Like, I don't know what but I mean, he's got the money to be who he is, and it's a shame that, because the guy he's a radio legend, but I mean, people, whatever, we're gonna, but yeah, he just has to accept the consequences. Like, his relationship with Bill Burr isn't gonna be what it was, and his comments are to blame for that.
Do you think that Anthony's pretty much, in a way, sort of tarnished himself as like a right wing guy, or do you think that it's ever going to get back to normal?
No, I will say this, and this is the same thing I said about Chrissy, who I don't dislike Chrissy Mayer, but much like
you told me.
No, I never said I dislike her, but I think Chrissy
you
told Anthony. All right, let me tell. They found their audience. You know what I'm saying? So Anthony, I don't think Anthony ever wants to go back to what he is, but then he has to accept that he chose his path of being this guy that says certain things, whatever. He has to accept it. He can't have it both ways. He can't be this guy that says like mean, outrageous things, and he does it like in a joking format or whatever. But he found his audience. He found his audience that likes that and that is cool with him doing that. Well, that's who he's stuck with now, which is fine. He like same thing with Chrissy, and she found her audience. She doesn't have to, like be someone that everyday comedy crowds would need to find. Like they found their audience, and you have an audience. So, they should be thankful they have their audience. Anthony's got his audience. He doesn't have to change his way. So is it going to be tarnished? Yeah, mainstream people are going to look at him, remember the Bill Burr thing and all that, and be like, yeah, Anthony put himself in that position. But, they found their audience. They got their audience. And so they should be thankful for that. They have an audience, and, how you expand from that, I don't know. That's up to them. I don't think he's ever going to be able to cross back over without some self-reflecting and admitting that stuff he said was hurtful and why he sees it was hurtful. I don't know.
But the one of the things I got to ask you, because you've probably got a good take on this, that when that happened and that video came out, Kevin Brennan really went off on Anthony. for all that racist shit that he said, and that was stupid. I don't understand how that video got out or why it was posted. Like, what the fuck? Especially because Anthony was talking about some white guy, yet he kept saying that word, and it's like it was eye rolling stuff. But Brennan, the big snowflake, really went off on it. Yet he himself used to call Gino that word. And it seems like the people who are profiting from the Cumia and Bill Burr stuff are the commentators. Opie's fucking coverage of the Bill Burr Anthony Cumia thing got a load of coverage. Any other podcast who starts talking about it is doing well. And I just think like it's a crazy time and it's a shame. And I just hope that the Cumia hasn't like done irreparable damage, because to me he's like the greatest of all time. I think that he's maybe not as legendary as Howard Stern, but I think he was better on the radio than Howard Stern. I've interviewed him before. I'd fucking dying to interview him again. But then you told me off, Mike, that if I interviewed him again, someone's going to die. That's what you said. And I'm not a liar. But I think it's sadly that Anthony may have accidentally got himself tarnished forever with the right-wing label more than what, like, because everybody has certain opinions on certain issues, but it's like he's leaning so far into it that it's like, I don't know if you can get back from it.
No, I agree with you. Like again, I think he could recover from that, but he'd have to do it's something that I don't see him doing, being like remorseful for a lot of the things he supported and a lot of the things he said. But you're right. He's a radio legend and I think he's great on the radio, but yeah, he would have to like really do a deep dive and be like, and admit that, yeah, being that right wing was, he'd have some, I don't know, apologizing, but just admit that like that was uncool. But like I said, he doesn't need to do that because he has that right wing fan base that loves him. So, you know what I mean? Like he already has that fan base. So in a weird way, if he does like reflect on everything, he might lose his loyal fan base that's already there on the far right.